Return of the Living Dead is the greatest zombie film of all time. Now, listen, this is a very subjective thing. I mean, of course, some may say Night of the Living Dead, some may say Dawn of the Dead, some may say the Dawn of the Dead remake. 28 Days Later, Train to Busan, World War Z. There's so many zombie films, so many good ones. But for me personally, I've always been the biggest fan of Return of the Living Dead, and it's the 40-year anniversary. It came out August 11th, 1985. So today we are here to celebrate Return of the Living Dead, and doing that big time because I have an interview here with one of the starring actors of the movie. Also, the main star of Jason Lives, Mr. Thom Mathews. But first, I just want to give you a quick introduction to Return of the Living Dead, my history, my experience. I watched it for the very first time, renting it from the video store when I was about 16 years old. It is one of the great video store trips of all time. I rented Return of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Night of the Living Dead in 1990. That's right, four awesome classic horror movies, and for three of them, it was my first time seeing the movie. And Return of the Living Dead was a first watch that weekend. Fell in love with it, loved the score, loved the music, have loved it ever since. Probably watch it about once a year, and it's easy to do so because the movie has an extremely high level of rewatchability. Now, what makes it stand out? I think for most people, what stands out is the perfect mix of comedy and horror. Fans of the horror genre, you know that it's always tricky when you try to mix comedy in with horror. Sometimes they're in conflict with each other. Sometimes the tone is uneven. You know, you think about something like Vampire in Brooklyn, which sometimes funny, sometimes scary, but never the perfect mix. But some get it perfectly right. You think of the original Scream, you think of Evil Dead 2, and I think probably the master of that is Return of the Living Dead. And not because the movie's written as a comedy, but because the characters play it straight and they get comedy out of the situations they're in. So you have scary horror situations, characters playing it straight, but you can't help but notice that these situations are hilarious and the actors do such an amazing job. Thom Mathews, Miguel Nunez, James Karen, Quigley. I mean, there's so many good actors, so many good performances in this movie. Great zombie makeup. The zombies themselves, I mean, so many revolutionary things about zombies come from this movie. The fact that this movie started the trend of zombies running, zombies eating brains, zombies talking. That's all from Return of the Living Dead. So I may credit other movies for that, but it's all from Return of the Living Dead. And listen, it's not even just a cult classic. Sometimes horror movies get unfortunately thrown into a category of, small time cult classic. No, absolutely not. Everybody loves Return of the Living Dead. It has a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 7.3 on IMDb, and when it first came out, it was nominated for 4 Saturn Awards, and even good old Roger Ebert gave it a glowing review back in the day. So if you haven't seen Return of the Living Dead, make it an immediate appointment to sit down and watch the movie. I have it on 4K, so I'm watching it all the time. Great extra features and a great documentary on the Blu-ray as well, I must mention. Sit down and watch if you haven't. I'm sure all horror fans have seen Return of the Living Dead. Today we're celebrating. I'm talking to Thom Mathews, getting his thoughts on the movie, on the franchise, reminiscing with Thom Mathews about Return of the Living Dead. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the like button. If you want to join on the celebration, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about Return of the Living Dead. What's your favorite scene? What stands out to you about the movie? And let me preface, unfortunately, with the interview on the back end, I discovered that my audio on my side didn't quite come out right. I sound like a damn electric, magnetic echo voice thingamajigger. So bear with me with the interview. The audio on my side is not great. Try to edit around it, but still thought you guys might get a kick out of this. Enjoy the interview, and please, again, watch Return of the Living Dead if you have not. Take care. Are you
Are you
surprised
surprised
by
by
the
the
longevity, the
longevity, the
ongoing fan
ongoing fan
following?
following?
Because
Because
a lot
a
of horror
lot of horror
people,
people,
horror
horror
fans have
fans
this
have
as
this
their
as their
favorite
favorite
zombie movie
zombie
of all
movie of all
time.
time.
Are
Yeah,
you
Are you
surprised that it's
surprised that it's
so
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 big even
big even
now?
now?
I am. I honestly I am. It's really got some legs and I mean, look, the movie's fantastic. It just really holds up and we put a lot of heart into it and I consider Return of the Living Dead it really is a dark comedy because
Yeah.
we were playing it for real and what's funny about it is the situations we get ourselves into and it's just unbelievable and hysterical. I mean, the scene where we're cutting the zombies, the yellow corpse's head off,
Mm.
we shot that at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I
Whoa.
remember watching it and I'm like grossed out by it, but also laughing at the same time. So I'm like, I'm like, oh God, just like, I've never felt that in a movie before. So, uh, yeah, it just holds up. It just, it's lightning in a bottle and it just, it's a really great piece of film noir. Also, it's, my favorite scene is with the old lady on the gurney,
Mm.
where we're having the conversation, where they have a conversation with her, and she says, "What?" Would they ask, "Why do you eat people?" She said, "Not people, brains. It stops the
Yeah.
pain of It's such a great
And
moment.
even for her, it's like a good dramatic performance in the moment. You actually
Yeah,
feel that she's feeling the pain.
exactly. Tony Gardner created her, who's a good friend, and we still keep in touch.
I was gonna ask you, like, on the page, on the script, did you have any sense that there was sort of a comedy in the
No,
situations?
not at
Or
all.
even during filming? Because 'cause you're
No,
right, the cast plays it straight. It's
no.
just getting comedy out of the
If you know Dan
situations.
O'Bannon, he was not. He didn't. He was going for a hard hitting zombie movie, and
Wow.
that's how he wrote it. Himdale, the producers, kind of, like I said, because of the audience reaction of what was going on, it was so unbelievable. They kind of pushed it towards the comedy bent, but it's a dark comedy, you know.
It 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 it's almost hard to believe because yeah, the situations are it's very dark at first, but, like,
Yes.
you open the door and he runs to the guy who's hiding in the back. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like, it's like that's feels like a really comedic moment.
So many great moments like that in the movie. Clue was great in it. Everybody,
Yeah.
Dan and James Karen.
And it's actually pretty revolutionary for the zombie genre because, to my knowledge, it's the first movie to establish eating brains,
Correct.
zombies running,
Fast zombies.
zombies talking even. So these zombies
Correct.
have personality.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that that's all from Return of the Living Dead. Like the Romero movies, which
Well,
played more
no,
straight.
I've asked people what do zombies eat, and they'll say brains, and I say, have you seen Return of the Living Dead? And a lot of them haven't seen it. So well, that's where it came from. So it became bigger than itself. It became part of pop culture. Uh, Scooby Doo has my character going for brains in it, and so many other uh, TV shows and stuff have the zombies and they're yelling brains, 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 and it's all because of Return of the Dead. Quentin Tarantino owns a little Beverly Cinema over on Beverly Boulevard in Hollywood. So he just had a screening on July 3rd at midnight. So
Wow.
it's really fun to see it on the big screen if you haven't had a chance, because you pick up you start, you see all the nuances that you've missed, and it's great, just a great. No, I was in high school, went to counselor trying to figure out what I want to do when I got out of high school, and just was kind of floundering. And then a couple of years out of high school, I was at a job and I was dating this girl, and she just turned to me and she goes, "Why don't you become an actor?" And I was like, "That's what I'll do." So I
Wow.
started. So I started studying acting, and for about a couple of years, 3 years, and then I got a commercial agent, and I did very well doing commercials. I got like every 10th one I went out on for like 10 years. I mean, for like 3 years in a row.
Mm.
So, and then soon after that, I got cast in Return of the Living Dead. My first movie was The Woman in Red with Gene Wilder and Charles. I worked with, my scene was opposite Charles Grodin. And then my second movie was Return of the Living Dead.
Wow. Well, I have to ask you this, but how was working with Gene Wilder? He's a legend in his
He is. And, I was a big Willy Wonka fan at the
Oh,
time
yeah.
too. I saw it like 10 times when I was a kid. He was great. Everybody's great. Very professional. Big production. Kelly LeBrock was great.
So how
So
did
how did
Freddy and
Freddie
the
and
Living
the
Dead
Living
come
Dead
to you?
come
Was
to
that
you?
a
Was that a
normal
normal
audition
audition
process? How'd
process?
that
How
come
did that
together?
come? It was. I got the script and the size and went in and read for the casting director. Got a call back, read for the producers and Dan and stuff like that, and didn't hear anything. I thought didn't get it, and I thought I nailed the audition. And then 9 months later, I get another call back. 9 months later, I get another call back.
That long?
That long. And I was thinking, oh, I thought it was already shot and in the can already. I get the call back, and I go there, and not only was it not a call back, but they had hired me, but my agent didn't know because they didn't tell them, and they were pairing me up for the girls to play Tina. So I read with like 6 girls, and Beverly Randolph ended up landing the part. But that's how I found out I got it. And it was shot here in LA and over in Burbank, most of it, some of it downtown LA. And I was just happy to have a job. Yeah. I was 23, 24 years old at the time.
Was the
Wasn't a
movie
horror fan. Wasn't into horror.
okay?
Okay. You know, I appreciated the art of filmmaking, so that was an interest to me. And so
Was skipping it a
skipping it a
moment,
moment, but
was the
was the
movie
movie life
life-changing for you
changing
when
for
it
you when
came
it came
out?
out?
Like, was
Like,
there
was
like
there like
a
a
sense of
sense
more
of more
fame
fame
or more
or more
opportunities?
opportunities? No,
Like, do something for you in the
people
moment?
recognize me more. Uh, It wasn't life changing. No, I still had to audition and stuff, which I was hoping I wouldn't have to do because I hated auditioning. Just wanted offers,
Yeah.
yeah. You know. But I did get Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, a year after that. And then I finally asked the director years ago if it had anything to do with me being cast in Return of the Living Dead. He says no, he didn't even know about the movie, so that was kind of cool.
I was gonna
I was
ask
gonna
that
ask that
because, yeah,
because
there's
there's
a through
a
line
through
to,
line to
Return of the Dead has you
Terminator
and
you and
Miguel
Miguel
Nunez,
Nunez,
and then he's in
and he's
Friday
in
the
Friday
13th
the
Part
13th Part
5,
5,
and
that's
then
right.
you're in
And
Part
you're in
6.
Part 6.
So
Yeah.
there was,
There
like,
was like
connection
connection
there.
there. You mentioned Part 2 that we came back, James Cameron and I, and it was all because they had the script for the sequel. They wanted to make a sequel, the producers. And so what they used to do is they used to go around back in the day. They would go to territories outside the United States for distribution, and they would sell the rights to distribute the movie for that country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'd get a certain amount of money, 50, depending on how big the country was. And they would negotiate, and they would get the seed money to make the movie, to take a little burden off the financial burden off the movie, and they would give them the rights a year later after the movie came out. So they went to France and Italy and Norway and all those other countries. And then when they got to Japan, because it was a huge hit in Japan, Part 1,
Oh, wow.
they said absolutely, it was a huge hit, but can you please bring back James Cameron and Thom Mathews song? So that's why we were in Part 2.
Were you
Were you
surprised to get the
surprised to get the
call? You're like,
call? You're
"Wait,
like, wait,
are
yeah,
they bringing back my character, my new
I'm
character?"
very, logical thinker. It didn't make sense at all. But I did it because I wanted to work with James Cameron again. We just had a blast.
Can you
Can
think
you
of any
think
other
of any other
movie
movie
where that's
where
been
that's been
done, where the
done, where the
sequel
sequel
brings back
brings
the
back
2
the two
actors, but
actors,
it's
but
a
it's
different
different
character, but still
character,
the
but still the
same
same?
dynamic?
Oh, I'm sure.
Feel
I'm sure. Not off the top. I'm sure it's been done. I'm hard pressed to think of.
Yeah.
Especially after they well, maybe in a dream sequence they come back, but and as the same person, but not as different characters, I don't think.
Well, and that
Well,
just
and that
shows
just shows
the love
the
people
love
have
people
for
have for
Prometheus in the
Prometheus in the
first
first
movie, that
movie,
they were
but they
like,
were
"Hey,
like,
we'll go
"Hey,
to
we'll go to
Part
Part
2
2,
if we find a
find a
way
way
against all
against
odds
all odds
to bring them
to bring
back."
them back." No, the whole thing, it's always been and always will be very close to my heart because um, it truly was a collaboration, making that movie. We rehearsed. I don't know if you know this, but we were able to rehearse for 2 weeks before we actually started filming.
Oh, wow,
Oh
okay.
wow. Okay. And that's very expensive, and it's never done. Maybe not as expensive for that movie because it's low budget, but it's hardly ever done. I think in part they did it for Dan, so he would feel comfortable filming when we actually got to the scenes. But what it did was it bonded all the cast members together who were there, and a lot of the scenes almost felt improvised that were scripted, and we did improvise a lot, which was the collaboration part that I was talking about. Because I never, James Cameron and I, we would sit down and work on almost every scene, and we'd bring it to Dan. He never said no. I mean, we always talked about it and talked it out and trying to make the film better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was unusual for a writer director to do that and let go and open it up, because typically they want you to stick to their every words, because they poured their hearts into writing it for so many years, so they're locked into it. But Dan had the foresight. As a director, you want to use the actor you hire, and whatever makes them feel more grounded and honest, it only comes across on the screen. So he had the foresight and the insight to do that. So that it was great. I try to get to the meat and potatoes of what's on the page and the character. I pierced my ear, and Dan was like freaked out because I did for the character, and I cut my hair and had because I was a punk rocker, had the little pigtail. And the reason why I wear the hat is because Dan thought I cut my hair too short. So I wore the hat until my hair grew out a little bit.
Because the punk look would have been longer.
Yeah,
80s rock.
I think I cut it too short or whatever. I'll make choices like that on my own. I've done like 10, 11 Albert Pugh movies, and I would always creatively make choices on those movies. So I think that's what he liked about me, because I would kind of bring my own stuff and we had that 2-week rehearsal point. It bonds the actors for sure.
And you said that it's uncommon.
Very
like
uncommon.
On Jason Lives
have
like that also?
Nothing.
Oh,
Nothing. I never even saw CJ
oh wow.
as CJ. I wouldn't know who he was if I saw him walking around the set,
Wow.
because he kept away. He kept hidden away and would only show up in costume as Jason. One of my favorite filming experiences ever.
Okay.
For the 45 movies I've done or so.
He's
I was into Led Zeppelin and Bad Company and rock and roll, U2, Peter Frampton, Gary Wright, the Dream Weaver, the one-hit wonder. It's a favorite song, which I just heard yesterday, ironically enough, on the radio, and I was like, oh, it wasn't as good as I remember, but I like that movie. I mean, that song. What else was I? Foreigner was very popular at the time.
So when you hear the music in the movie,
Black Sabbath, we went as kids. I think we were in our 20s. We went to the California Jam, and it was out in Ontario. It was a 24-hour event, and Black Sabbath was there, and it was just an all-day thing. It's when they had streakers too back in the day. When you know what streakers are?
no.
Okay. People would randomly take off all their clothes and just streak past you, run naked past you. So those were streakers, and it was happening for like a year. And they were at the California Jam. It was a huge event.
I guess we see that.
You should try and bring that back. Actually,
we sort of see that in the cemetery.
Yeah, that's true.
So like the music in the movie.
Music was great. Yeah.
Punk feel like,
Yeah. Totally great.
Would
during
that
related to that? During that period, no, not at all. I was not at all. But during that period in LA, it was a big punk rock scene, and a lot of the cast got their hair cut from Attila. He was a punk rock hair cutter over on Melrose. So we went there, and then a lot of punk on Melrose, up and down on the mopeds. There was there'd be 20 mopeds, and they're like almost like gangs, but they weren't. Yeah. It was really a kind of a cool time to be
it's sort of
like Hollywood.
with other movies that made like age the movie, but I think people appreciate showing that's how people were back then,
Yeah.
what they were into music-wise and their passion and all that. I love that.
It was pretty cool.
Party Time is still a great song,
Yeah.
but the score specifically, the score is great.
It really
When that opening credits with music,
yeah.
amazing.
The first corpse comes up. Do you want to party? It's party. Yeah.
Did the experience on part 2, was it as fun as experience on
It
part 1?
wasn't because I didn't like the director that much.
Okay.
It's like he was there, but it's like he lost a bet and had to make the movie, so he wasn't really enjoying himself so much. And, you know, a lot of people like the movie. It's from a teenage boy's perspective, the kids on the bike, and if it's the first time you saw it like that, then I get it. But it doesn't hold a candle to part 1, unfortunately.
I think it's solid by itself. It's like,
Yeah.
but if you compare it to the first
Yeah, it's a
one,
different
sequels
same
always
but
have
different.
end up being compared to the first one.
Yes, of course. Very rare does a sequel outperform the original. I think Godfather 2 might be the only argument.
Godfather 2, Terminator 2,
Terminator, yeah, I was a big fan.
Alien. You can go.
Alien's great. Dan O'Bannon co-wrote Alien.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did read that.
Co-wrote Alien.
And so, from your perspective, he approached Return Dead as like more of a mysterious tone. Like he wanted to be a serious film.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think Dan had a funny bone in his body.
So it might be one of those.
I mean, he wrote Alien for God's sakes.
Which
that was his
serious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I never saw him laugh. I never, he wasn't that kind of a guy. He was very eccentric. I mean, to have a meal with him was like an experience because he was like quirky and eccentric and stuff. Great guy. He really liked me. Didn't take some of the cast. He didn't get along with him so much, but I always thought that he saw himself in the movie as my character for some reason. But maybe it was just us. Return was really organic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It just it was just like there's something about an energy when you're doing a low budget film that creates creative juices, and you kind of, you have everything in place and the script and the sets and stuff like that, but then you're making creative decisions on the fly as you're in the scene and things like that. So, and it really comes across. Also, rehearsing was very instrumental in making it look like the kids were, especially in the group of the kids where they were all together and they were overlapping themselves.
Yeah.
You look at the one scene
organic.
after they find Tarman, they close the door and they're all in a lineup and they're all just like bantering back and forth. There's no close-ups. And that scene works as a master because they were able to rehearse and stuff like that. And I don't think there were close-ups or even thought about doing close-ups because of the budget. But there's a lot of scenes like that. Some of the bigger budget movies, overthinking doesn't really help the movie along, I think. Okay, I brought Freddie along.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Nice.
Fuck you.
Do you have the television version?
Yeah, I wish I did, man. That would have been cool. TV version. I didn't keep much from. I do have the prosthetic, the latex around my eyes. That's about all I have.
That scene where he puts himself in the crematorium was sort of not in the script, just
all his idea.
came up with.
Yeah.
Wow.
All his idea. such a poignant moment too for the film. I'd say probably 10%, 15% we came up with it. And then we were born on the same. We did part two of Return of the Living Dead, and I found out that we had the same birthday, so maybe that's why we meshed so well.
And you guys remain friends possibly in
We
3 years?
did. We celebrate our birthday every year until he passed,
Wow.
and I'd have him over for the holidays and stuff.
Man, okay. That's cool.
So
Do you keep up with the podcast?
I do. I see a lot of them at the conventions and things, and then we email back and forth. We're all on a text thread about what's going on. And
well, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and of course, that's just part 1, because don't forget, Thom Mathews is also the star of Jason Lives, so we got a full part 2 talking Jason Lives, talking Never Hike Alone, talking his great villain performance in Kickboxer 4 for any Kickboxer fans out there. So that's coming up next week. Until then, you guys take care.